Hello folks, in this video I'm going to explain how to solve the problems on the first quiz. The first problem is displayed here. This was quiz 1, remember? And it is written here on my notepad and I am going to solve it. Actually I forgot to write, so we look for f of negative 3. So the first question was what is, so this is problem 1. What is f of negative 3? And of course, you can look here at the formulas and you can easily see that f of negative 3, because negative 3 is less than 2, f of negative 3 is given by this formula here, 3 minus x, and that's going to be 3 minus negative 3, or 6. Alright, so this is equal to 6. Alright, the second question here was, and I'm gonna click again on that, f of 0 and then f of 2. So let's do f of 0 here, and the same story, 0 is less than 2, so we use the first formula, and it's 3 minus 0, or 3. So that's gonna be f of 0, and finally f of 2. You can easily see here that you need to use the second formula because x is greater than or equal to 2 this time around. 2 times 2 minus 5, right folks, is going to end up being negative 1. So you get the third answer. Now, since there was a question also, if you look at the end of a quiz, it says here on the same piece of paper, sketch a graph of a piecewise defined function from question 1, and we're at question 1 over here. So let us actually graph this one thing, and I have decimals ready. Let's see. So I'm going to say here in decimals, I'm going to do exactly like you would need to do if you were in a test situation. F of x equals, again, remember the curly braces, my formula is 3 minus 6, oops, there we go. So x, first of all, x less than 2, and then colon, and then the formula 3 minus x, comma, and then x greater than or equal to 2, colon, and the formula was, so let me look again at the formula, oops, and the formula was 2x minus 5. So I'm going to say here, colon, 2x minus 5. And then we go, so we close the curly braces, and that's my graph of my particular function. So you can easily see that the things that you needed to find there were f of negative 3, and remember that's we got 6, then we needed to find f of 0, you can check that's 3 here, so it tells me everything here, and if I want f of, what was that, 2, I get negative 1, so you can see that we get 6, 3, and negative 1, so you can check that your answers are correct. But remember, this is how you draw a graph of this function. All you have to do is to replicate this function on a piece of paper. Okay, so I'm going to move on to part 2 of a quiz, question 2, which was this particular question. Now, I have to apologize here. I made a mistake, so instead of writing, so I intended this to be the correct answer to the absolute value of x. But I made a mistake by not paying attention here, so I looked at the other way around too, and I placed 2x minus 2, and then I realized, oh, wait a second, I said f, the composite of f and g instead of the composite of g and f, and so it got mixed up. So, so that being said, let's actually do this problem, and let's see how that is done. So again, if we need f of x square root of 2x minus 4, so for problem 2, f of x is square root, let's make a nice x here, square root of 2x minus 4. Apologize folks here, this is kind of an ugly x. Alright, let's make it nice. So f of x is that. And we also had g of x, and that was x squared plus 2. All right. So, so if you look here for the problem that was asked, there was f circle g. Of course, you need to do f of g of x here. So you take the formula of g and you substitute in the x value where f is defined. So you would take this thing here and you replace x by that thing. So if you do so, then f circle g, folks, turns out to be the square root of, 2 times, and instead of x, I'm going to put that x squared plus 2 minus 4, and that's going to end up being the square root of 2x squared plus 4 minus 4, and the 4's will cancel out and we'll end up with the square root of 2x squared, which turns out to be not the one that I wrote there in the answers, but rather this one, the square root of 2 times the absolute value of x. Now remember, folks, so remember, I did not take off points from anybody for this particular problem, but I was expecting you to recognize that there's something fishy because the answers there were not correct. They were not matching, and especially when you do the graph, if you do the graph of this particular function, you should recognize that you can never go, it's a square root of something, so you can never go below the x-axis. And a bunch of people wrote me even 2 lines going, both of them going below the x-axis. So I would have believed you if you just put 1 line, but 2 lines going below the x-axis, that's a bit problematic. So regardless, you got your points there, you got your 6 points there, but know how to do this next time, and I'll be more careful next time. I apologize for the mistake. Now, how could you graph this thing? Well, so simply just remember that the absolute value is a function that goes like this, like a V shape. We did that in class, and you had square root of that, square root times that. That is also of the same format. It's just a little bit tighter, closer to the y-axis. You can graph this function though, and that's what I'm going to do next with Desmos. You can go to Desmos and you can say, oh, wait a second, so I can graph this thing. Let me delete these things. So f of x here, folks, equals square root sqrt of 2x minus 4. And we said that g of x is, oh, I'm sorry, typing something incorrect. G of x is, oh, it doesn't like x. Oh yeah, so g of t, let's say, is, let's do that. So the formula was x squared plus t squared plus 2, right? I'm using a different letter. I told you that this program doesn't quite like to use the same letter. All right. So now if we do f of g, that will be, if you do f of g of t, look at that. That's going to be, or f of g of, let's say, not t, because it doesn't like t, let's say a. Oops, it doesn't like a. Okay, well, let's do a here. So, oh, it's only gonna point to the values. No, we don't want the values actually, so hang on a second. So let's say, here we go, folks. So let's say instead of that, let's close this thing here. So let's say h, define a function h of a, which is equal to f of g of a. And there we go. That's the composite of the two, and it's the blue function here. Is, as I told you, it's this one here. You don't even need to know a formula for it, but it's gonna graph it here for you. So this is f of g of a. So simply writing the composite like that would help if you want to do that. But we calculated the formula and we saw what that was. All right. So that being said, I'm done with problem 2. Let's discuss question 3. So question 3 was a limit question. I'm just going to copy this thing from here. So let me see if it lets me copy that. Oops, it doesn't let me copy that. So I wanted to copy that to put in Desmos directly, but it doesn't let me. No problem. So let's do x squared minus 3x divided by x squared minus 9. So I'm going to cut here these things. I'm going to define a function, f of x equals x squared minus 3x divided by x squared minus 9. All right. So so this problem, we have to find the limit as x approaches 3. So we need to do a graph and the graph has to have the numbers. So again, I'm going to write some note here to me. Limit as x approaches free from of f of x. All right, and I'm going to go next to the next level, and I'm going to say here, oh, okay, hang on a second, and I'm going to open a table, and in this table, I'm going to do exactly the things that we did earlier. So I'm going to do a t and f of t here, and I'm going to give values to x very close to 3. So we're going to give 2.9, for example. It doesn't matter which way you approach, really here it's going to work the same way. 2.99, and then 2.999. Oops, got the wrong number here, so let's go down here, 2.999, and you can see that these numbers here really approach 0.5. And if you come from the right side, you get the exact same thing. So if you do 3.1 and then 3.01, I'm sorry, here 0.1, you get to see very close to 2.5. So the next one, let's say 3.001, you get something very, very close to 0.5. So regardless, the limit is going to turn out to be 0.5. All right, so that's so the answer is here. I'm gonna write the answer here. I don't have to write on the notes. So so let's put a note here. So the answer for the limit is 0.5. So that's the answer, and that pretty much finishes the calculation in this case. And you can see that 1/2 is the same as 0.5, and it's going to be my answer. This is answering all the questions in 4 here, because in 4 I basically wanted you to show me your work for the problems 1, 2, and 3 above. All right, so folks, this finishes the solutions to the quiz. Now, if you have specific problems and if you have questions about the way I graded your specific problems, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I will answer promptly. Alright, thanks for watching this video, folks. I will see you in the next video or tomorrow.